The girl had come on vacation with her family, but she never imagined she would witness such a terrifying incident. Far out at sea, a cruise ship was racing toward the shore like a broken kite, drifting out of control. However, her parents didn't find anything unusual about it. They thought the ship would stop after a while. It seemed like it would stop in time. But when the ship was just about to crash into the shore, people realized they had to run. Fortunately, the ship got stuck in the sand and came to a halt. The people narrowly escaped the accident and began running in panic. Later, while leaving the beach, the main character, Clay, spoke to a police officer and learned that several ships had recently run aground along the coast. The official explanation was a failure in the navigation systems. After the incident, Clay and his family decided to return to the villa they had rented to relax. However, on their way back, they suddenly found themselves stuck in a massive traffic jam. They soon got caught in a traffic jam. Clay's wife, Julia, immediately got out of the car to see what was going on. She was shocked by what she saw because this was no ordinary traffic jam. Countless Tesla cars had crashed into one another and were blocking the road. The strangest part was that there wasn't a single driver in any of the vehicles. When Julia noticed the autopilot symbols on the cars, she began to understand how serious the situation was. Just then, another driverless Tesla came speeding toward them. Realizing the danger, Julia quickly got back into the car and prepared to leave. Fortunately, she managed to turn the vehicle just in time and avoided a collision. They survived, but the road ahead was completely blocked. With no other choice, they had to turn the car around. However, more Tesla vehicles were approaching from behind. To stay alive, Julia gripped the steering wheel tightly and did everything she could to avoid crashing into them. Somehow, they managed to escape the life-threatening situation, but they still had no idea. They had no idea that the real disaster was still yet to come. When the family finally arrived at the villa, Julia immediately opened her laptop to find out what was happening outside. But surprisingly, the internet was down. There was no signal on their phones either. It meant that their connection to the outside world had been completely cut off. Their connection to the outside world had been completely severed. At first, they thought it was just a network problem that would be fixed soon, but even by nightfall, the internet had not returned. The next day, bored and with nothing else to do, Clay and his wife sat in the living room, drinking wine and playing with building blocks. Then, just as Julia was about to refill her glass, he suddenly heard the sound of vehicles outside the villa.